Well, Coach, I know, sorry, this is kind of same questions as last time, but when you were in the middle of the offseason, I think you were down to like 14 players on roster. Kind of, how did it get to that spot, and what was the process like to be able to build that back up?
Well, we got to just over the transfer portal time was one, but we also graduated a pretty good sized senior class. We had 8 players who turned professional at the end of the year. So, but then we had 7 that went into the portal. So then that became a bit of a speed dating process as far as getting ourselves organized on what we wanted to bring in, what our biggest needs were going to be. And so all that was done in December of 24. So by the time school started in January, we had 27 back on the roster. Had a couple other adjustments that happened at the end of the spring in May to bring in the 3 other players that we just brought in with Kaylee and Mia and Shay. So that's where we've been. So the good news for us is that even with the transition that we've had, the majority of the team, we started working on our culture and how we were going to play starting last January. So we're now kind of starting month 8 with this particular group.
I know with some of the conversations that were had last week, a lot of talk about how this group is really excited to be here and at A&M. Is that some issues that you were facing, and is that a joy of the transfer portal that you can bring in some people who are excited to be here?
Yeah, I think that's the other edge of the transfer portal. Is the one side of it is that it's hard to predict what your roster is going to look like. Unfortunately, making it so easy to transfer, in my opinion, this is kind of old man on the porch, is it's taken away a little bit of it's taken away the ability for us to teach resiliency of, hey, things are going to be okay. You're going to. This is part of the development. You're playing against people who were 4 and 5 years older than you. You've never done that before, and now look what you've done. You've gotten better. Well, that's out the window now, because if someone isn't in the quote first 11 immediately, then they're getting words from their people back home that they should go find some place where they can be the first one off the bus. And so the flip side of it is it brings people who are looking for an opportunity to be at Texas A&M. And so we've had in this particular cycle a lot of just great players who were looking for the opportunity to level up. So we've got Leah Diaz, for example, who comes to us from Tulsa, who was their leading scorer, who is a Texan all the way around. The opportunity for her to come and live a dream. Same thing, you have Erica Defferting, who's the goalkeeper of the year in the Southland, a chance for her to come live a dream and level up. We've got the player of the year out of the Big West. You've got an all Mountain West player from UNLV. You've got all these players who now it's a chance. These are a lot of times late bloomers that we didn't really have the opportunity to recruit coming out of high school, and so it becomes a bit of a perfect marriage for that type of player. And I know Mike has done the same thing with football and some of the rest. It's just players that we get a chance to see how they've done at the college level and go, okay, they can do it at the SEC level, and let's give them that opportunity.
Yeah, and to that, what makes you feel like, I guess the double-edged sword is you get these players that were best in their league. What makes you feel, or what's giving you confidence that they have the ability to take that next step?
Well, the confidence comes from them being here for so long, and that they've already been in the Texas A&M system. They know how to get around. They know how to get around campus. They know what the culture is like, and they've had a chance to bond with their teammates for the last 7 to 8 months. And those are huge points in our favor. Now, if we were turning the entire team over the summer, then we would have a lot of issues. But right now, I think that we're definitely ahead of the game.
So does it help playing Baylor in the fact is you maybe know how their style and you know things, it's not, everything's all not maybe possibly new?
Well, Baylor has been a long-time rival. You don't have to bring that up. Just the Battle of the Brazos, but our rivalry with them goes back for them several generations of coaching staffs. It's just there is familiarity, but with that, we haven't been successful against them recently. We have an overwhelming advantage in wins and losses over them over time, but last year we lost to them 1-0. The year before that, they came in, they were able to get a 1-1 tie with us here at Ellis Field. So that's extra motivation for us, but it's a good, solid Power 4 team that is going to have a really good season. They are vastly improved over what they've been in the past, and I think that Michelle's got a team that they're looking to get themselves into the NCAA tournament and make a good, solid run.
After these first 2 exhibition games, what have you liked that you've seen from your group, and what do you kind of want to tighten up just ahead of the opener?
Well, the biggest thing is just playing against other people. You have to be able to adjust to things that maybe were a little bit unexpected. So in the 2 games we had, because we don't have any film right now of people in their preseason, we thought that Rice would come out a certain way. They came out a different way, which actually suited us better. We thought that UTRVG would come out a certain way. They came out the way that we thought Rice was going to come out. So, but the good news is that the players, because we don't have timeouts, because we don't have the ability to call the group over and call a play, we've got to be able to get information to them, but they've got to be able to adjust on the fly. And that's one of the things that you don't want to have to be experiencing for the first time when it's the game on the line. So that was one of the things, our ability to read and understand and communicate, but also just our speed of play. We've got to be able to play a little bit quicker. It's going to be a step up going and playing the game against Baylor, and then the following game on Sunday against Lamar is going to be a very organized opponent. Someone who's former assistant of ours, with Nathan Kogut being their head coach. He knows us very well, so we're going to have to be prepared to really move the ball quickly and be able to play on the run a lot more than we were in those first 2 preseason games.
When you touched on that communication piece, how big is that when, you've talked about chemistry, some of your players have talked about how the chemistry this season feels really good considering that 8 months that this group has had to work together?
Well, I think that's part of it is just now can we do it when it's really hot? Can we do it when there's people in the crowd and the seats are full? And can we do it in a manner that we keep building on top of what has happened before? Can we use the little bit of experiences that we've had in games? We had a great spring in our development, and now can we keep taking the next step?
I know through building a roster through the portal, how much of that were you able to do built around the formations and tactics that you've had, and how much of the formation and tactics is going to be dictated by the talent you were able to bring in?
Well, everything we do is based on the talent we have. We've never been a team that was a quote formation team that you were trying to just bring pegs in to fit into these holes. We're always looking at bringing in the most talent that we possibly can, and then we'll adjust the way that we play to the strengths of the team that we have. So it's very much, we know how we want to play as far as style points go, but we also have to fit those players into putting them in places which might be a different shape than we've played in the past. And but the common things go into play. Can we play fast? Can we put the other team under maximum pressure? And can we attack from a lot of different levels? And so it's funny. It's too bad that Bucky his season hasn't happened before us, because I think a lot of the things that you'll see from our Texas A&M basketball program is similar stuff that we try to do. We want to try to put people under pressure. We want to try to get to goal as fast as we can, but we're willing to attack in different ways.
Added significance on an opener when you got 2 Power 4s. I guess both of you guys are looking maybe to be ranked eventually, and it's not like you're playing a lower division team either way.
No, it's good. Well, I mean, we want to play against teams that are going to be in the NCAA tournament. I mean, I think this past year we finished a run. We were ranked in the top 25, I think 27 years in a row, and then we fell out last year. So trying to get ourselves, or a year before last, we fell out to get back in last year. So we've got to make it to where we want to play teams that if we don't win the game, it's not going to be harmful to us because they're going to be a team that's going to be seen in the NCAA tournament, so it's not a bad, quote, bad loss. But we also want to beat those teams. So when it comes down to comparisons head to head, how do they do against those teams that are also in the same mix? So that's why Lamar, who's won several Southland Conference championships, is on our roster. You've got next week we've got Texas State, who's one of the favorites in their league. It's why we have Denver, who's one of the favorites in their league. We've got all these different teams that are the best in their league, and we want to be able to play against them because part of the RPI is based on the other team's records that you play. So we want to play teams with winning records. We're not looking for gimme games. We want games that are going to, number one, help us to get better, but also help our RPI down the line because so much of postseason is determined by your RPI.
Was there a point in the spring ball in the off season where you kind of felt like, okay, we righted the ship, or we achieved our goals and what we wanted to do in the off season to build this roster, and everything kind of felt smooth? Is there a point that you can put your finger on that, or?
Well, we're still getting there. I think a big part of what we're trying to do is, put ourselves into because one of the cool things about coaching college is every team's different. Every team you coach is different. Even the players who come back are different because they've gone through so many life experiences so quickly at the college level that now they've changed a little bit. So, but our team definitely is different. There's a lot of people who are predicting our demise because players who helped us to finish 10th last year aren't with us. Well, we don't want to finish 10th. We want to finish first. That's where this program has been so many times. So getting ourselves into a point where we feel good is that we are there, but also there's this other devil on our shoulder saying we're going to play better teams. We got to be ready. We got to be ready. What could happen? And those are still the question marks that we have. Is as we step up in our competition, for example, Baylor, how are we going to step up with our competitive level?